to be comfortable in your skin, to be true to yourself, to be able to name yourself. That was me when I was 40. I was 40 years old before I knew enough about me to dare to be me. And I love being me. I really do. And then I think about the 39 years before that and to think about what might have been. I don't think it should take 39 years before you can have that kind of understanding, that kind of self-love, that kind of joy, that kind of peace. And I don't want our children to have to wait 39 years or 25 years or even 15 years. I want all children to have that understanding, self-love, joy, and peace as soon as possible. That is what informs my thoughts and my actions. That is the essence of my calling. That is the essence of my practice as an educator. Hi, my name is Denise Dean, and I am a teacher and educator. I love serving young people, especially the ones who want to be better tomorrow than they are today. And according to Ms. Tanya Davis, that is who you are. So welcome. I also appreciate that many young people want to be free to exercise their personal power. That is definitely something I agree with and support. Oftentimes, though, it's not clear how best to do that. I'm going to introduce you to a book I wish I had read and followed many years ago. The teachings found in the book, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, can free you and enable you to exercise your personal power. This is the book. The 4 agreements are: 1, be impeccable with your word. 2, don't take anything personally. 3, don't make assumptions. And 4, always do your best. When these teachings are practiced, you and your life can change for the better. And I truly can give testimony to that. Now, many of you know about this term socialization. It's something that starts very early on in life. And we learn pretty quickly what we have to do to be a good girl. Think about this. What % of the time are you being your truly authentic self? We learn so well what we have to do to be a good girl that we start pretending to be what we are not, just to please others, just to be good enough for someone else. We pretend to be what we are not because we are afraid of being rejected. The fear of being rejected becomes the fear of not being good enough. In so many ways, our world is so difficult to live in because it is ruled by fear. Now, we've all been socialized in similar ways and different ways, but in the end, we all have a set of rules or a code that we live by. Some of those rules help us grow and thrive. Others cause us pain and suffering. Only you know which is which. My hope is that after listening to this recording and ideally reading the book, The 4 Agreements, you will choose to reflect on your personal code and take action to make your code one that enables you to be your best self. Socialization also affects how we think. Right now, there is something in our mind that judges everything and everybody, including the weather, the dog, the cat, everything. Everything lives under the tyranny of this judge. There is another part of us that receives the judgments, and this part is called victim. The victim carries the blame and the guilt and the shame. And you may already know this, but nobody abuses us more than we abuse ourselves. And it is the judge and the victim and that belief system that make us do this. I personally can recall too many times that I said some pretty mean things about myself to myself that I would never say to a girlfriend. What is it about our personal code that allows us to treat ourselves that way so harshly? Did you know that the human is the only animal on earth that pays 1,000 times for the same mistake? And think about this. How many times do we make our friends, parents, other family members pay for their mistakes? We truly struggle to forgive ourselves for not being perfect. Our socialization led to the making of thousands of agreements we've made with ourselves, with God, our parents, our friends. But know that the most important agreements are the ones you made with yourself. If you want to live a life of joy and fulfillment, you have to find the courage to break those agreements that are based on fear. And when you do that, you're able to claim your personal power. Knowing and practicing the 4 agreements can help you claim your personal power. The first agreement is be impeccable with your word. The word is a force. The word is the power you have to create. It is the power you have to express and communicate, to think, and thereby create the events in your life. Do you know that humans are the only animals on earth that have this ability? God gave us the word and its power. Now, what does it mean to be impeccable? Well, impeccability means without sin. A sin is anything you do that goes against yourself. When you are impeccable, you take responsibility for your actions, but you do not judge or blame yourself. You use your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself. So how much do you love yourself? Your level of self-love and how you feel about yourself are directly proportional to the quality and integrity of your word. When you are impeccable with your word, you feel good, you feel happy and at peace. Be impeccable with your word. Use the word to share your love, beginning with yourself. Tell yourself how wonderful you are, how great you are. Tell yourself how much you love yourself. Use the word to break all those tiny agreements that make you suffer. It is through the word that you manifest everything. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Let me ask you, how often do you get irritated by what someone has said to you? In my life, that has happened too many times, and I held on to those words and played them over and over in my mind. I took what was said personally because I agreed with whatever was said, and that led to suffering. According to Don Miguel, taking things personally is the maximum expression of selfishness. Now, he said that because when we do take things personally, when we are being selfish, that's because we make the assumption that everything is about me, when in reality, nothing other people do is because of me or you. It's because of themselves. What they say is not hurting you. We feel hurt because old wounds have been touched, and wounds being touched hurt us. Even the opinions we have about ourselves are not necessarily true. We already talked about how mean we can be to ourselves. Therefore, we do not need to take whatever we hear in our own mind personally, because it just may not be true. Not taking things personally is hard, but it helps us avoid suffering. It helps us to remember that you and others see the world with different eyes. We do not always see the same things. And also, please remember that if someone is not treating you with love and respect, it is a gift if they walk away from you. Walking away may hurt for a while, but your heart will eventually heal. Then you can choose what you really want. As you make a habit of not taking anything personally, you won't need to place your trust in what others do or say. You will only need to trust yourself to make responsible choices. There is a huge amount of freedom that comes to you when you don't take anything personally. Now, this third agreement, I think you may have heard this one before. Don't make assumptions. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are true. All the sadness and drama we have lived in our life was rooted in making assumptions and taking things personally. And it is always better to ask questions than to make assumptions, because assumptions set us up for suffering. We make assumptions that everyone sees life the way we do, think the way we do, feel the way we do, judge and abuse the way we do. That is why we have a fear of being ourselves around others, because we think everyone else will judge us, victimize us, abuse us, blame us, just as we do ourselves. So even before others have a chance to reject us, we've already rejected ourselves. Have the courage to ask questions until you are clear as you can be. And even then, do not assume you know all there is about a given situation. Not making assumptions is difficult to do. Becoming more aware of our habits and understanding the importance of disagreement, though, is the first step. Find your voice to ask for what you want. What will really make a difference, though, with this and the other agreements is action. And that takes us to our fourth agreement. Always do your best. God is life in action. The best way to say I love God is to live your life doing your best. Doing your best, you're going to live your life intensely. You're going to be productive, good to yourself. You're going to live by giving to your family, your community, to everything that matters. When you always do your best, you take action because you love it, not for any kind of reward. Keep in mind, though, that your best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. On the day where you're feeling, pumped up and energized, you had a good sleep, your best is going to look a certain way. And on those other days when your head was hurting, maybe you had some cramps going on or whatever, your best is going to look really different. Know that if you try too hard to do more than your best, you will spend more energy than is needed. And in the end, your best will not be enough. And if you do less than your best, you subject yourself to frustrations, self-judgment, guilt, and regrets. So let's focus on just doing your best. When you do your best, you don't give that judge the opportunity to find you guilty or to blame you or to make you a victim. When you do your best, you learn to accept yourself. Now, the first three agreements that we talked about only work if you do your best. Don't expect that you will always be impeccable with your word, but you can do your best. Don't expect that you will never take anything personally. Just do your best. Don't expect that you will never make another assumption, but you can certainly do your best. And if you are ready, you can make this agreement today. Just say, I choose to honor and practice the 4 agreements. I hope you do. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. And young ladies, I wish you love, peace, and happiness as you continue your wondrous journey to adulthood. Take care.